Why hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I am your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and I want to talk about something with monetization and standing stones and maybe some ideas for them to think about how to bring money into the game like they always do, because you have to make a game survive, but in a way that is still respectful, right? So far, I've liked some of the things they've done, okay? And there are some things I want to talk about that some people have heard. I don't mind, but some people have not liked, okay? So we're going to go through this together. Please leave your comments. Keep them respectful and fun, okay? So, but you're welcome to say what you think too, of course. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do enjoy yourself. So the big thing I want to talk about first is that ways they can monetize their game besides the subscription base. So let's start with the subscription thing. All right? So Lord of the Rings Online has one of the best free-to-plays, I believe, of many games and of an MMO, classic MMO. Now, there are new ways that new games are bringing stuff out, right, and new ways of monetization, but I feel like LOTRO has done a very good job of their original free-to-play system back in the day when they started 16 years ago. Was one of the best. They actually implemented it a few years in. So this would have been like 13 years ago, 12 or something like that. When they implemented it, it was actually one of the best free-to-play systems, okay? For a classic MMO. It was really, really good. In fact, other MMOs started trying to copy things from it, okay? This is including World of Warcraft, all right? World of Warcraft, about a year later, did the same. I tried to do the same thing, and they weren't quite as willing to make it real free-to-play. So they didn't really end up making it real free to play. Again, this is not an attack on World of Warcraft. There is something I'd like to point out though in this video, is that I've heard so many times from the past that LOTRO was a copy of World of Warcraft. No, it wasn't. All right. So people who say that are very ignorant. It's usually people who maybe were playing the game, or just someone that doesn't really know about MMOs that was saying it, or it was someone who was annoyed that another MMO came out that was good, like LOTRO, even though it really didn't have nearly as big of a player base as WoW ever did. So, but it still had a big player base, right? And a huge core loving group of Tolkien fans that love the game, right? I mean, it's still here. That's the biggest thing. And the thing is, to say that too is kind of funny because so many games came out that had similar engines and similar gameplay at that time. There was like 25 MMOs, right? And guess what? There's only like 2 or 3 that survived that time. Now, I'm not talking about Final Fantasy or Guild Wars 2. Those were all like 5 years later, okay? 5 or 6 years later. I'm talking about like that time of classic MMOs, not RuneScape. That was before. I'm talking about like World of Warcraft, the classic tab targeting, Lord of the Rings Online. I think Star Wars Galaxies was out. There was a bunch of other ones, right? Star Wars Galaxies obviously kind of turned off and turned into the Old Republic game. But anyway, the bottom line is LOTRO was its very own thing. Right? They did it. Their only similarity was tab targeting. I even watched a video guy talking about how, oh, Lord of the Rings even has universal cooldowns on its abilities. Like, wow, no, it doesn't. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to go on a rant there, but I was laughing really hard at a video I saw that said that because I'm like, wow, that was ignorance. Your ignorance is showing. But anyway, so let me talk about now the monetization thing. Okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, that's something that makes me laugh a lot because it's just not true. And again, LOTRO wouldn't be here. If it was a real copy, it would have died, right? It's its own game. It's not a copy of anything. And in fact, a lot of people, I've said this in the past, but a lot of people don't realize this. LOTRO and WoW, I enjoyed, there was a nice iron sharpens iron thing going on because LOTRO would do an update and WoW would suddenly do that update 4 months later. And then WoW would do some kind of update, and LOTRO would suddenly do an update that was similar a couple months later. So they were actually competing, even though I think LOTRO probably would admit they were competing, but WoW would never admit that, right? Because we all know that. Even my WoW players out there would probably be like, yep, you're right. But because bottom line was WoW is one of the biggest MMOs, right? But anyway, so no, it was, I actually enjoyed the fact that they were always competing. But one thing that was really good, now that we'll go back to money-based things, because here's the whole point of that little spiel right there, was the point of LOTRO had a really good free-to-play system. WoW tried to then copy it a few months later, and they made it where like, oh, you can play free-to-play up to level 20, and then we lock your account until you subscribe. You can't get on your character until you subscribe. That was weird. LOTRO never did that. LOTRO had all sorts of ways to continue to go up. Now, they did a revamp, right, last year and a half ago, free-to-play. Their free-to-play system is much more inclusive, and it's like really, really good now. It's more like what you think of free-to-play on games today, right? So now let's go into another thing here. Let's talk about a comparison of another game that's not an MMO, but that has a really good model for making money, but does not affect gameplay. So people who are free-to-play do not get affected by the people who are paying for things, okay? League of Legends, all right? I know everyone's like, right? A lot of my MMO players, but just hear me out. League of Legends, there are not things that are pay to win. Back in the day when League of Legends first started, there were some things that you could help buy stuff to get the runes for your rune page done faster. You might have been able to say that was pay to win, but then they removed that, and now ever since, the only thing you can get are cosmetics, right? Things to make your character look cool. Now some people might go, oh, well, in combat, that makes certain things look easier or better for other people, right? Maybe. But the point is, it doesn't affect the actual gameplay, right? They don't get increased stats, they don't get super awesome abilities that other people can't get faster or things like that, right? So now when we bring that into LOTRO, okay? Subscription-based, right? I like that the free-to-play version, the subscription-based, pretty much subscription stuff is convenience, right? Convenience and cosmetics. That's the big thing. Now, here's something that I've been thinking about. How do you bring more players into LOTRO wanting to do subscription if you have such a good free-to-play system, right? How do you make that worthwhile? Well, one thing that Standing Stones has been doing, which is really excellent, is they've been giving out the turbine points, 500 a month, to people who are subscribers. Now, I'm not entirely sure if they still do that right at this moment. I think they do, because my points keep going up and I'm a subscriber. So, but they give, yeah, I believe they do. But they gave, you get 500 a month. That's great. Another thing, how could you make it where, here's what I'm brainstorming for Standing Stones as a player, how could you make it something where you could make the game more desirable to be a subscriber to besides convenience, something cosmetically? Well, I think they should do a special little cosmetic item, whether it be something you hold, a piece of armor, that whatever. I think they do a special one each month. And if you're subscribed before that month starts, you get that piece of armor. And if you, or subscribe during that month, right? You get that piece of armor. After that month, that piece of armor is never given out again. Or that cosmetic item, or that cosmetic pet, or whatever. What that would do is it would incentivize people to want those cosmetic pets. But if you're free to play and you don't really care, and you just want to play the game and enjoy it, it doesn't affect gameplay. So anyway, that's an idea. Again, of course, someone who subscribes all the time, big benefit for me. But the idea is to bring more people in wanting to be a subscriber because, I get a cool little cosmetic thing that I can have forever that no one else, except for people who are subscribed that month, can have, right? Or maybe they want to do it where it's every 3 months or something, if it's a little too much work for their team to make an item or something that often. But I think that would be a really cool idea. I think a month would probably be the best way to do that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Comments on that? And the subscription base, I like the fact that Standing Stones has always done it. If you pay for 3 months of subscription, it's only $10 a month. Where normally it's $14.99 US dollars, it's $15 a month for subscribing once a month. I like the fact that if you pay for 3 months, it's like $29 and something, right? I think that's a great system. I think it incentivizes people to invest more, but also save money for themselves. They save $15, right, for those 3 months. I like that. That's a great idea. Now, when it comes to other cosmetic things and stuff in the game, let's talk about the luxury packs, okay? Something when it comes to like more cosmetic things, more things with the LOTRO store. One thing I like about LOTRO that it's weird to me when people make comments that they feel like LOTRO has lots of advertising or something. That's really weird to me because there's never pop-ups on the screen. There's never an issue. There's one button right here. This is the LOTRO store, okay? You can click that if you want. You don't have to ever click it if you're free to play. Who would have? You don't have to click the one little button, guys. Anyway, the point of me making that joke is I've heard other YouTubers and people who review the game who don't play it, mind you. I'm not talking about any other LOTRO streamers. I'm talking about people who just review different games. And usually they're more on the ignorant side of it, which is fair. They probably only looked at it for a few hours. I'm not trying to bash these people, right? But they'll make comments like, "Oh, look, check, it's got pay, it's monetization, it's got money. Oh no!" And like, it's like, well, there's other stuff you can get in the LOTRO store too, besides just things that are just for money things. But anyway, you could buy your expansions there. You can do all sorts of things, so you don't have to go on the site, right? But I just find that really funny because the best thing, back to what I was saying, that I love about LOTRO is the fact that there's not pop-ups anywhere on the screen. You never see pop-ups. The only pop-up you get is the quest thing telling you have a quest, which is totally different, right? Or the little alert thing in the corner, which is usually your items or some kind of bonus in the mail, sent you something in the mail. Those are the only kind of pop-ups you have. I played some new games. Let's name one. This is not an attack on the game. I actually enjoy the game. Tower of Fantasy, right? It's an MMO, brand new. It's been out for a year and a half. It's like an anime version of a MMO. I do not like it as much as LOTRO. I like LOTRO's gameplay better. But it's really fun. Tower of Fantasy is really fun. But there are pop-ups everywhere. Okay, there's this thing in the corner that has all these little buttons, and they're all things you have to claim or buy, or brand new thing they're selling, or things like that. It drives me crazy. So LOTRO is really good. They don't do that. Okay, their monetization system is they don't just slam it in your face, and I love that. Standing Stones keep being good about that. So one thing that I like the Standing Stones is doing, if you watched my recent Lord of the Rings update, is they're making like these different things, luxury packs, right? Which are cosmetic stuff, okay? They're cosmetic things. I like the fact that it's not like, oh, you know, let's give you this, right? They're cosmetic things. So it's really nice. The Rivendell one was really cool. And again, there's like 3 levels of them, usually like a basic one that's more affordable for people, like $20. Then there's one that's like a mid-ground, it's like $40. Then there's like one that's like closer to $100, right? Usually what they do. And they're all cosmetic things or furniture for your house or things, decorations, maybe a title. It's not things that will affect the gameplay for free-to-play people. So free-to-play people can just totally ignore it and not care. But people who really want to support the game and give the game more money, you can buy them. And they've been putting them out, and they're usually limited time. Now, one thing I would recommend to Standing Stones is I don't think you should make them limited time, because I think you'd make more money over time if you leave these out. All right? The newest one is the Harvest Coffers, which is like a lot of like horse farmer kind of equipment. It looks really cool. But I think that would be neat if they made it where they stayed in the store all the time, but that they gave the ability to make it where maybe when you bought it during the little time, the 2 weeks they gave or whatever when they're selling it normally, you get one extra special thing, right? That's like one extra special title or item to kind of incentivize getting it during those few weeks, and then leave it in the store so you can still get trickles of people buying it, right? I'm thinking as like I was supporting Standing Stones in that way, right? Like if I was thinking, how do we make more money where we respect our players as a player, right? I'm trying to think like inversion to help, right? So I think that's good that they do that. I really like the luxury Rivendell thing and the coffer thing they did. I think they're cool. I think they're awesome. Now, another thing that's been a little controversial that I will talk about right now is the Valor packs. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the Valor packs that bring you up to lower levels down low. Because again, it's another way to get money for the game, right? But a lot of people were like, well, this just disheartens me entirely, right? I got a couple comments, which is fine. And by the way, I respect those people. I understand your thoughts. I understand the frustrations. But you have to realize, Lord of the Rings Online does have a PvP arena, but it's really not a heavily focused PvP game. There is PvP, but it's really more focused on the PvE, player versus the environment and the NPCs and the creatures and the dungeons and the raids. That's what it focuses more on, the storytelling, all right? Which is good. I think they should always focus on what their strong suits are. I would like a little more PvP, but again, another thing about PvP is when you play on the other side, the monster player side, they're automatically level 140. You just have to, and they've made it a lot easier for them to get stuff. So they're automatically already there. One thing that I'm finding with the level boost packs where people are upset about is they're like, well, I don't, you know, they did a limited time Valor boost that gets you immediately to 140. The reason they're doing that is there's a new expansion coming out soon. I think that's the reason why they're doing that, okay? So, basically, a lot of people were saying this is their argument that they were frustrated about, which I still understand. Is they're saying, well, why do I even try to level? Now everyone just instantly get to level 140. Well, they can't just get there for free. They're spending like $80 of their real hard-earned money in real life, right? And the reason why I think it's okay is, again, the PvP zone. It's no skin off anyone else's teeth. If you're someone that worked many hours and got there and got all your gear, you did it. You did it without spending any of your real money, and probably more fun for you, because this game is really fun as you do stuff. So they might have missed out doing the Valor boosts and doing that. But at least the idea is, for me, let's say it's a dad, you know, he has work all week, he's got kids and his wife, and let's say, or, you know, vice versa, maybe a wife and, you know, kids and a husband, or, you know, whatever. You know, you're just so busy that you don't have hundreds of hours put into the game, and it's going to take you 5 years to get to level, you know, the max level 140, and they just want to be able to play with their kinship at the end, right? And they don't want to have to do all the extra things of the, you know, the virtues and this and that, because, again, that's very enjoyable as someone who's leveling. I recommend to a lot of people, don't just go buy the Valor boost. I have a whole video on it. Make sure you think about it first. Is that something you really want to do, or do you want to just do the work yourself? Because I have lots of guide videos, and it's half the fun of this game is leveling, okay? That's my own personal opinion. But the point is, it gets the people up there, and now it also supports the game, right? And now they're up there at the fun, and they can do raids with their friends, because they, you know, they only have 2 hours a week to play, right? That's the kind of idea, right? They have 2 hours on the weekend to play a raid with their friends, and they just want to be max level. So again, I understand allowing that, okay? So I see the flip coin on both sides. But again, I don't think Standing Stones or the LOTRO team did anything that made it pay to win. I think I felt some people were trying to say it was like pay to win, and I really don't think it is. Just because maybe you're a little frustrated that you can't spend the money to do that. Well, why do you want to spend the money to do that, right? Again, and I understand. I don't have a whole ton of money. A lot of my money that I earned, I bought some Valor boosts myself on my account. But that's because I spent so much time doing other content from Lord of the Rings Online or Lord of the Rings for my channel that I wanted to have a couple of max characters to be able to work with my team. And I already had a max character that I did myself. That's the thing. I recommend you have your own max level character before doing a Valor boost. Let's say you just want to have another healer, right? You could do that. Right, you can level it up, and they give you some bonuses. They don't give you the top legacies for your legendary item or the best armor in the game, but they do give you stuff enough where you can do the raids to get those things, okay? So I liked how Standing Stones did that too with the Valor boosts. It felt like you're really strong, you have your gear now, but at the same time, you still have stuff to look forward to gaining in raids and doing work, right, at the end of the game. So it was cool. You don't just get the best stuff for getting it, right? But again, it saves you a lot of time. You get your virtue points and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Let's not get too much into that. I have a whole video on that if you want to know about the Valor packs. But the point is, I don't really see that as a big problem personally. I know a couple people saw that as a problem, but I think the majority of the LOTRO community did not mind those, okay? Because again, it's really no skin off anyone's teeth, because it's not like it's a big PvP zone. And again, they're already max level. If you play on the other side, if you play on the monster player side with an orc or something, they automatically start max level, okay? So I understood that. So now let's talk about the fact that what else is Standing Stones doing that's good. One thing I liked about the free-to-play system revamp this year is they took away a lot of the money, the caps that were like in the original free-to-play system. They made it, usually you had to be a VIP to increase your cap of how much money your character could hold and stuff. They removed all that, right? They gave more item space, all that kind of things. I think then, again, Standing Stone should focus on convenience and cosmetics to make money, right, in the game. That's where they should focus on making money. And then, of course, a new expansion. And I think then, again, if you want a consistent income with the subscriptions, I think that they could bump up something with the subscriptions. So now, what is the difference between free-to-play and subscriptions with expansions? Real quick, okay? Regular free-to-play, you can now go all the way up to 95. All the expansions up to level 95, which the game is max level is 140 right now. So a lot. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay. So much stuff you can do, right? And again, all these little caps on things were removed, right, on money and stuff. So you can pretty much just play the game out. Then you can earn LOTRO points, which, by the way, you can earn the store points by just doing deeds and stuff. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time, but you can do that without spending any real money in real life. You could buy the next expansions up to, I think you might be able to buy the final expansion, but you can start buying the next expansions as you're doing stuff with certain characters, right? But the next thing that I like about VIP, all right, or subscriptions, is they make it where you now, once you're a subscriber, again, it's a convenience thing, you get everything up to the final expansion if you haven't bought it, right? So whatever the newest expansion is, you can't have that one unless you buy it, right? So again, it's a smart system because now subscribers have pretty much everything, right? And convenience, moving around. They have all the places they can go, all the way up to level 135, I think it is at this time. And then if you want to go to the 140 cap, or it's 130 to 140, I think it was a 10 level cap, you have to get the Fates of Gundabad new expansion, right? To get that content. And then no matter what, then you have everything, right? So I think that's cool. I think it's a cool system. So then, of course, the next expansion, obviously, everyone will have to purchase the next expansion. But then if you're a subscriber, then you should automatically, I believe, get the Fates of Gundabad, or it'll be really cheap to buy in the store or something. Sometimes they'll do really, really cheap sales to give it to people. Again, they really do think about the players. So again, their business model, from what I've seen, is subscription, right? Money, cosmetic stuff in the LOTRO store, and then new expansions, right? Which is good stuff. Again, one thing that I worry about is sometimes if they put too much work into doing the next expansion, because that's how they're making a lot of their income, that they forget to do other things, right? Update certain areas, repair certain things, graphical updates and stuff. But that is not the case. They've hired new people, and they have been doing slow updates to the older areas, adding new beautiful landscapes, the water, so much stuff. So the fact is they actually are doing upgrades in the background too on the older places. They're not just doing the expansions, which makes me happy because I love some of the old places. They're near and dear to my heart, and to go see more new life breathed into my favorite locations in Middle Earth, it's just the best. All right, so again, I love Evendom. That's why I'm standing here. So that's what I think about some of that stuff. What do you guys think? I wanted to give you guys my thoughts. So really it comes down to what should Standing Stones focus on, right? For making money for their game. Because you have to have money to keep your people paid that are doing all the hard work. And I know they love the game. You can tell they love the game. But at the same time, they, you still don't want to, you gotta have money, right? You gotta have money. I understand that, right? Even me as a YouTuber, I really appreciate my Patreons and you guys watching and liking videos, because that's how I get money to be able to have food on the table, right? So it's like, of course, I love doing this. I do it pretty much a lot of times, certain things for free, because I just enjoy doing it myself. But of course, you have to survive still from normal things. Same thing for a game company. So I understand the things they're doing. I like what they've done. I do not think they've done anything to make this game totally monetized on every little. It's really weird when I hear that, because when I played WoW, there was more pop-up things in WoW, which they're not terrible at that either. But my WoW players are watching. You tell us in the comments. LOTRO has done a pretty darn good job of not pushing stuff in your face. I really appreciate that. I really hope they don't do that, because I've played some phone games that are just abysmally annoying with that kind of stuff, and it makes me not want to play those phone games. When I see these pop-ups in my face all the time, I'm just like, I don't even want to play the game anymore. Get it out. So I love in LOTRO that they have these things to give, like these coffers and supporter packs. I like the word supporter pack. I think they renamed the coffer ones to kind of have a different sound, but I kind of like the supporter pack name. I think it's cool because it kind of shows that you're supporting the game, right? But again, they have a really good. The game is growing in population and their staff. I know they're hiring more people and they're updating things, and it's a really good game. So long live Lord of the Rings Online. No, just kidding. To the king. But anyway, I really love the game, and it's a fantastic game. And again, I am pretty reasonable in my thought process with things. Of course, there are pros and cons to this game. I have a video about it. But it's just there's so much more pro to con if you're someone who likes the stories and you like Tolkien's lore and you like classic MMO style gameplay. I mean, so many people have joined my channel who said they used to play WoW. Again, no attacks on WoW. I've played WoW with my cousins for many years too. But I love LOTRO. It's a great game. It's very unique to its own thing. There's some very unique things. The mounted combat, the legendary items, some very unique things that they started originally that no other game had. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. And thank you to my Patreons. Thank you, Skumley, for being a Royal Guard. Subscribe button's right there if I earned it. If you guys like this kind of stuff. Did you like this just random chat? I don't know. I guess it'll be on. I don't know. This will be a guide playlist or Zollin's opinion. You'll see later. But up there is the next episode, and over there is a LOTRO Taylor who voiceovers through this game and Lord of the Rings Online. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys have a great and wonderful day in Middle Earth. Stay happy, my friends. And remember, always look at everything half full and positively. I think people look at things a little too negatively all the time. So try to stay a little more positive. It's good to have some skepticism on certain things in life, but be positive. Be positive. See you. Have a great day in Middle Earth.